The Siege of Jaffna Fort, 10th June 1990. The rebels surrounded the Jaffna Fort, positioned anti-aircraft guns in the fort area, threatened the helicopter-borne supplies to the stranded troops, and the battle for the fort turned out to be fierce and intense. They were determined to capture the Jaffna Fort at any cost. As the siege became more acute and the lives of the troops became endangered, the Sri Lankan military made many attempts to break the siege. The conditions were getting difficult for the troops with each passing day. They were not only running short of ammo, but also food and water. In the meantime, the fort was bombarded with various types of improvised mortar shells, which caused a heavy toll on the armed forces and police personnel within the fort. The entire power of the Air Force was mobilized to systematically bomb the rebel positions. The machete bombers, aircrafts, and helicopter gunships were utilized to pound the area and the buildings occupied by the rebels with the aim of dislodging the siege. Thousands of locally made barrel bombs blasted the metropolis areas, reducing the buildings in the area to heaps of rubble. As the fighting continued, on the 25th of August 1990, Sanus, a sub-inspector of police on duty at the fort, was injured by a mortar blast. A part of his left buttock of Sanus had been ripped off. He was in agony, and the impression he had was that he too would slowly but surely bleed to death like some of the others who had been injured earlier. There were no painkillers, leave alone antibiotics, saline, or blood for the injured. Others in the fort wrapped him in a sheet and took him to a bunker for safety until the arrival of the helicopter. The Palali army camp was informed, but helicopters could not land to evacuate Sanus. He had to wait with this serious injury for another day without any medical help. The next day, on the 26th August, the Air Force carried out a rescue mission codenamed Operation Eagle 2. Like an eagle, the helicopter flew very low over the lagoon to avoid enemy fire. It could not land. As it came close to the fort and was stationary for a few minutes, Sanus was carried and thrown into the helicopter by the troops. He was lying on the floor of the helicopter in agony. Sanus was helpless. He could not move his legs. The gunner of the helicopter gunship was holding on to him with one hand while firing at the enemy with the other. The empty shells from the gun mounted on the helicopter were landing on the body of Sanus. These were red hot and added to the misery of Sanus. A few minutes later, the helicopter landed in Mandathivu Island, which was the center for coordinating all military operations connected with the rescue attempt. He was then sent to the Palali hospital by ambulance. He was lucky. Sanus reached Palali hospital around midnight. He was extremely ill, in a state of septic shock, with serious injuries which would have killed him if there was further delay. Gamini happened to be the surgeon at the Palali hospital on that fateful day. Sanus required extensive surgery after resuscitation. A part of his left buttock was gangrenous. At the operation, this part of the buttock had to be cut off until red. Bleeding contractive muscle was evident, indicating that all dead tissue has been removed. This is the basic principle of war surgery, which Gamini had learnt many times over while treating battle casualties. The condition of Sanus improved gradually, and Surgeon Gamini decided to transfer him to Colombo after a week. Gamini's turn of duty at the Palali hospital had ended by then, and he decided to accompany the patient to Colombo in a Y8 transport plane. While the patient was on a stretcher on the floor of the aircraft, Gamini and his team had to sit on the floor of the aircraft en route to Ratmalana, as all the seats of the aircraft had been removed to accommodate the casualties. With further treatment, Sanus recovered completely, was promoted an inspector of police, and served the police force till his retirement. Sanus, no doubt, is a true war hero of our island nation.